Hello and welcome to another exciting session of project management. I am Harjit Singh, and today we're going to talk about project forecasting using earned value matrix. Project forecasting using earned value matrix, especially within the context of integrated baseline review and cost performance report, involves assessing the project's current performance against its established baseline to predict future outcomes. The integrated baseline review ensures that the baseline, including cost, schedule, and technical objectives, is realistic and achievable. Earned value metrics such as cost performance index CPI, we call CPI, and schedule performance index or SPI, they are tracked through CPRs to evaluate how well the project is adhering to its baseline. These metrics are then used to forecast the project's final cost. We call it in EVM earned value measurement world, we call it estimate at completion or EAC, and time frame. And we call it in EVM, we call it estimate to complete or ETC. So we use this to enable proactive management and timely adjustment to meet project objectives. So let's dive into this to talk more about this topic. Learning outcomes in this session include understanding the integrated baseline review, also known as IBR in short, explaining the change control process, identifying different formats of cost performance reports, we call it in short CPR, and defining the cost and schedule status report. What is integrated baseline review? Let's look at that. An integrated baseline review, also in short IBR, is a formal process used in project management to ensure that a project's performance measurement baseline, aka PMB in short, is accurate, realistic, and well understood by both the project team and the customer. The IVR typically involves a detailed review of project's scope, schedule, cost, and risk management plans to assess whether the baseline is comprehensive and executable. So, what is included in integrated baseline review, IBR? Number one, validation of the baseline. Ensuring that a baseline accurately reflects the project's planned work and is aligned with the project's goals and contractual requirements. Second is identification of the risks, highlighting potential risks and uncertainties that could impact project performance, allowing for proactive risk management. Third is assessment of resource allocation. Reviewing the allocation of resources, including personnel and budget, to determine if they are sufficient to complete the project as planned. Fourth is evaluation of schedule realisticness, checking whether the project schedule is achievable, realistic, and if the sequence of work activities is logical and efficient. Do we need to optimize the schedule? We look at that. Finally, number 5 is communication and understanding. Promoting a mutual understanding of the baseline among all stakeholders, ensuring that everyone involved is on the same page regarding project expectations and performance metrics. Timing of IBR. When it's done, the IBR is typically conducted early in the project life cycle, often after the contract is awarded. The rule of thumb is like you conduct this within 6 months after contract award. But before significant work begins. So that's the condition. Is done early, but so the before significant work begins. Because you need to make sure that everybody on the same page and everything is settled before you start the work. This is an essential step in establishing confidence in the project plan and serves as a foundation for future project monitoring and control efforts. So, number one, it is done early soon after the contract right is awarded. So within 6 months after contract is awarded. Second type of scenario is when there is a major event that occurs in the project life cycle, like a critical design review, we call a CDR. And if there are any changes, with respect to the scope and or performance measurement baseline, and in that case, a thorough review of the everything that is related to baseline, like and the associated resources, schedule, cost. That thorough review of that is required to understand what is affected by the changes. So what are the objectives of IBR? So to ensure that everything lines up properly, right? Everything lines up properly. That control account, work packages, basically control account is associated with work packages to control the performance of schedule and cost related to work packages. So make sure that the control account for the work packages is aligned with the contract work breakdown structure, we call it CWBS, and the statement of work. SOW, because these are the key documents that are related to any contract. So contract work breakdown structure is basically the scope that is promised. And a statement of work includes everything that the contractor need to perform. So, make sure that the contract maps perfectly to the scope in the work breakdown structure. And also, we now look at the schedule part. Schedule part is logical sequence of effort planned is consistent with the contract schedule. So the way we have planned our work activities, you know, and the way we have planned and the schedule of the contract, they are aligned, they are consistent. So that is for the schedule. Second, and then we also need to look at the budget. So we want to make sure the way we have planned uh, spending the money on the project, it is consistent with the way contractor is planning to conduct do the work and use resources. And we also need to understand and make sure that we have earned value methods in place for measuring not only the schedule performance and cost performance, but also what has been accomplished in terms of earned value. We also need to verify that we have checks and balances in place. So we have a mechanism to compare actual performance with the baseline or planned performance. So variance analysis, what it is the process of comparing actual performance with the planned performance. The difference between actual and planned performance gives us a variance. Both in terms of cost performance and schedule performance. So we want to make sure that we have a complete mechanism, overarching mechanism in place to understand variances and take appropriate action. In terms of doing something if the performance is not acceptable, and planning for the future, forecasting based on the current performance. So what kind of documents we need for IBR? So this is a checklist of IBR. We need to review statement of work. There's a CWBS dictionary, control account plans, variance thresholds for reporting. Variance thresholds for reporting, they are that there may be pre-established threshold for variance. Means that some level of variance may be allowed, right? So, for example, if schedule is behind by, let's say, 5%, I mean, or cost is overrun by 5%, then those may not be candidates for reporting, and beyond that they are. So it depends actually what thresholds are agreed upon and preset. Okay, so variance threshold for reporting and undistributed budget logs. The budget logs for undistributed funds. We will talk about that in a moment. What those undistributed funds are. Earned value methods. What kind of earned value methods we will be using, right? SPIs, CPI, schedule performance index, cost performance index, ETC, EAC, like estimated completion, estimate to completion, right? And organizational breakdown structure. In short, we call OBS. Contract work breakdown structure, CWWBS, work authorization documents. As you know, that work authorization documents are related to the work, doing only the work that is authorized. Basically, if there is a change request, only the work related to the approved or authorized work related to the approved change request can be undertaken. Master schedule, management reserve logs, we will talk about that also in a moment. Responsibility assignment matrix, RAM, in short, and earned value measurement criteria. Earned value measurement criteria means how we interpret what it means by schedule variance and the ratios SPI and CPI. Change control. So performance measurement baseline. What it is, performance measurement baseline is like we have a cost baseline, we have a scope baseline, we have a schedule baseline, and after when we complete the planning, we establish that those baselines, and they reflect actually what kind of performance that we are expecting. Performance management baselines. Then after that, once we baseline those, all these triple constraints in the project management. After that, any changes that happen to those, they must be tracked through proper change control processes. A change request must be initiated, which goes to change control board, and change control board can reject or can approve the change request. Only the approved change requests, they are candidates for consideration for further work on them. And only the work related to approved change requests is undertaken through work authorization systems. So that's the purpose of a change control process. During the review of a change request, the change control board reviews thoroughly the impact related to the changes, right? To make sure that I mean the the request must justify the change. What if the change is not implemented? What is the impact? What is the impact if a change is implemented? Did we do enough validation? Did we do enough verification? Are we sure that it's not going to break something in the existing work environment? So complete impact analysis is part of the approval process for change control changes. So the overarching integrated change control process that takes care of it. What are the objectives of change control process? As I mentioned, the objectives include making sure that no unauthorized changes are honored in the project. So any changes to performance measurement baseline, which includes baselines for scope, schedule, budget, they are documented, tracked, and communicated properly. So it's essentially the same thing that I talked before, that if the variance means when you compare the actual performance with the performance measurement baseline, if that the variance is not acceptable, then a change request has to be initiated. A change request maybe to do something to bring the project back in on track, in line with the pre-established baseline performance measurement baseline, or we may be required to make changes to performance measurement baseline. For example, let's say when project work is started after baselining everything, as a project manager, you realize that you need more resources. When the rubber hits the road, then rubber meets the road, then you know that the reality uh, could be different from what you estimated in your planning. So, and when you realize that you do need additional resources, and resources going to cost more money, so you want to put request through change request to ask for more funding. Means to put, ask for more funding. If more funding for the project is approved, that means that will change result into changes to the performance measurement baseline in the area of cost budget. So the cost baseline will be updated. It will include the original budget plus the approved changes. Okay. So baseline changes can happen as a result of many different things actually. So maybe the changes are related to the changes in the contract contract amendments can happen for various reasons. Contracts originally signed, agreed upon, may be subject to change, right? It may the contract may change with the mutual agreement of contractor and the client. It may change due to change in scope of the project also. So baseline changes like this contractual changes can trigger baseline changes, and an application of undistributed budget that can trigger baseline changes. Use of management reserves can do that. Replanning, formal reprogramming, all these can trigger baseline changes. Baseline means baseline for scope, baseline for cost, or baseline for schedule. Now, let's look at a few things that we have come across here. What do we understand by undistributed budget? The undistributed budget is a portion of the project's budget that hasn't been assigned to specific work yet. The program manager is responsible for distributing this budget, which can be created when the contract is first awarded or when changes are made to the contract. Every time the undistributed budget is used for a contract change, it must be recorded in both the project's main budget and a special UB, like undistributed budget, UB log, as required by the change control process. Now, I hope you know what management reserve is. So here in this context, let's talk about this. The management reserve is a portion of the project's budget set aside by management for unforeseen work within the project scope. The program manager can allocate this reserve based on a justified need. Any use of management reserve requires documentation in the project's budget and MR log. MR means management reserve. And changes to the baseline from using MR must follow the change control process. Right? Now, there is another term here which some people may not be familiar with. What is a formal reprogramming? Let's look at that. Formal reprogramming. Formal reprogramming is a structured process in project management and budgeting where funds or resources are officially reallocated from one part of a project or program to another. This process involves making changes to the approved budget or plan, typically in response to changing circumstances, priorities, or requirements. Formal reprogramming is done to ensure that resources are used more effectively to meet project objectives. Okay, so what are, formal reprogramming? What are the key elements of formal reprogramming? Reprogramming. It involves official approval. Remember, we were talking about like it official approval, documentation, impact assessment. All those considerations should be part of formal reprogramming. So, as far as official approval is concerned, formal reprogramming requires authorization from higher management, stakeholders, or governing bodies. This could involve changes to the project's budget, schedule, scope, or resources. Documentation with respect to formal reprogramming. So this process of formal reprogramming is well documented with all changes tracked, justified, and approved. This documentation is critical for transparency, accountability, and for future reference. Third, the impact assessment is also essential part of formal reprogramming. Before formal reprogramming is approved, the impacts of the changes, both positive and negative, they are carefully assessed. This includes evaluating how the reallocation of resources might affect the project's scope, schedule, and deliverables. What about the revised baselines? Once the reprogramming is approved, the project baselines, there are three baselines, right? The three baselines in terms of scope, schedule, and budget. They are updated to reflect the changes. This ensures that the project team and stakeholders are working with the most current, most up-to-date information. Essentially, the formal reprogramming is seen as a strategic response to unforeseen challenges, risks, or opportunities that arise during the project. It allows project managers to realign resources to areas where they are most needed. I hope this explains what a formal reprogramming is. Now let's look at contractual changes or modifications. We talked about this briefly before, but let's talk in more detail now. Contractual changes or modifications are first added to the project's budget, contract budget, base, or CBB as part of the undistributed budget. We also call it UB in short. When the change is received, these changes can either be fully defined, we call it definitized, or include authorized work that hasn't been priced yet. If the work is definitized, it should be included in the performance measurement baseline, also known as PMB, within 60 days. Authorized unpriced work is also added to the UB based on the proposal's total cost and remains there until it is either definitized or assigned to the appropriate organization that is responsible. Now, let's look at application of undistributed budget or UB. The undistributed budget or UB is a portion of the project's budget that hasn't been assigned to specific work or task yet, right? So who can who is the responsible for this undistributed budget? Program manager is responsible for this, for distributing this budget. So when a contract is first awarded, or when changes are made to the contract, at that time, this undisputed budget can be created at that time. So it is also controlled through change control process. That's why the distribution of these funds that are related to undisputed budget, they are identified in the contract budget base, CBB. And a log must be created. We call a UB log to track any contract changes and modifications. Management reserve by we talked about that before is above the project budget that is created during planning. Management reserve, it is used in severe unforeseen circumstances. Anything that is not within the control of a project manager. Okay. So there is a budget reserve, which is a risk contingency reserve that a project manager is authorized to approve. However, for unforeseen catastrophic situations in the project where there is a war or act of God or pandemic, like a or fire and disaster that is not. I mean, those don't happen all the time, but when they do happen, have catastrophic effect. So in that case, project manager seeks help from management, and the management reserves are released that time. In severe situations. And to track management reserve, there is a MR log. MR log is created. Again, just like before, UB funds, management reserve must also be identified in contract budget base and MR log. Any use of these funds from management reserve, they are controlled by change control process, right? Just like other funds like undistributed funds, whether they are undistributed funds or they are management reserve funds, they are governed and controlled by a change control process. Replanning involves baseline changes as a result of replanning of some work items in the work packages. Okay, it could be due to any reason. It could be when you're trying to optimize schedule, or maybe you're trying to compress a schedule, or there is something related to the contract. Whenever there's a, replanning of work packages means it can result into any changes to any of the baselines, like could result into the changes to schedule baseline or cost baseline or scope baseline. And as you know that after baselines are established, any changes to baselines, they must be controlled through change control process. We already talked about the formal reprogramming, right? So we must understand actually what it is and how this is done. Earned value management reporting. How EVM reporting takes place. So we call EVM methods, right? Methods of reporting. There are two types of reports: cost performance report, CPR, or cost slash schedule status report. What is a cost performance report? Cost performance report usually is a monthly report, and it manifests into 5 different formats. First format is a work breakdown structure, WBS. Second format is organizational structure, OBS. Third is a baseline. Fourth one is a staffing like labor, manpower. Fifth is a variance analysis report. Let's look at them one by one. First, here's an example. Actually, you can see the cost performance report example, CPR example. This is for Acme home building project. So what kind of elements are of CPR? As you can see that there is information for the day of observation, and there is also information on WBS, work breakdown structure. So as you can see that as of January 31st, that means this is the day of observation of a project health, right? So what kind of work is what kind of areas you're looking for? Foundation, patio, exterior wall, stairway. In the for each of these, we are looking at present planned value, earned value, actual cost, schedule variance, cost variance, SPS, schedule performance index, cost performance index. So these are the basic elements of earned value management system. So they're all numerical values because EBM system is a numerical calculation system. So, and project total, because project scope includes the foundation, patio, exterior walls, and stairway. So then we add them up as a project total, all these values here, right? And this is as of a snapshot of the day when we are observing the project performance. Then various activities related to these work packages here. You see this work package, foundation, patio, and all these are work packages. So the various activities broken down, they are listed here in this column here, down here. Then we have actuals, because actuals we track here for each of the various activities. Then estimate to complete is what okay, so we are looking at the project health on January 31st. So how much more we need until we complete the project, we call estimate to complete. So February, March, April, we track those values here. And then the total, actually total is estimated to, it's an estimate at completion. So EAC is equal to ETC plus actual cost. And you can see that if you look at this, it's adding up this cost. So you see that in the first core foundation, you only have 15,850. So that's a total. And second line, you have it's all patio, 7,200, you have 7,200. And third line, you have board stairway, you have 30, actual cost you already incurred is 3,100. And in February, you will be spending 8,942. Adding together is total budget at the end of the project for this only, this activity only, is $12,040. And similarly, you can forecast for everything in the project, in this project. And finally, when you are done with this this exercise, you have down below here the total. The total. So if you add up all these actual cost to the up to I mean on the date, actual cost as of January 31st, you get it here. And then you what is the remaining period until we complete the project? So we have February total, March total, and April total. Adding them all together, because EAC is equal to ETC plus actual cost. So total we have is total we need to complete the project is $165,569. This kind of format of the report is called cost performance report. An example. So various formats, actually, this report can be dissected into various 5 different kind of formats. So format 1 is WBS, where we look at the WBS, work breakdown structure. As you can see, these are work packages, foundation, patio, exterior walls, stairways. And when we break them down into activities, so these are the activities. So this plus this is this reflects this WBS. Okay, includes current period, cumulative, and add complete values for WBS element. So you can see that we have a periodic as well as cumulative. So this is cumulative here, all the added up, and periodic is per period, like for January, for February, for March, and so on. Then we have organizational categories. So OBS, this is format 2 that includes current period, cumulative, and add complete values for each organization or performing or responsible. So that's related to organization. If it's specified, this report doesn't include the who is doing this work, but assuming that there is a column for that actually showing who is. OBS is like a who from the organization is working, who is responsible for these work activities. Okay, baseline cost performance report format 3 it shows the baseline, so forecast of monthly changes to the baseline, right? So what is the forecast here? Forecast here, if you see the report, we use SPI and CPI for forecast, and ETC and EAC, they are calculated to reflect the forecast. So because this is the actual cost as of the day of observation, that's January 31st. So however, these ETC and EAC values, they are forecasted values. They are forecast. And the staffing cost performance index format 4 displays hours and person months by organization. That is about the staffing, who is working, how many hours and person months you track. Basically, the duration and the resources, they're a part of any cost performance report. And variance analysis that shows that when we have the variance analysis, basically what is the variance, what are the thresholds, you specify in that. So variance, this is schedule, if you see the report, schedule variance, cost variance, these are the variances. So you can also specify thresholds, preset thresholds, beyond which you have to report. Some level of variance may be allowed, and beyond that may not be allowed. It's not allowed, not may allowed. So some level of variance may not be allowed, but beyond that, it is required to be reported. Okay, so this is what variance analysis is. Variance analysis is first of all comparing the actual performance with the scheduled performance, and then looking at the variance, comparing it with the preset or pre-established threshold, and if the variance is more than threshold, it is reported, and some action is taken based on that, right? So this is part purpose of variance analysis, and that's what is shown in a cost performance report. Will include this information also that can be shown or filtered for reporting. Summary report, cost schedule summary report. That's another type of reports. So this reflects final standard earned value summary report. This is the overarching. It captures everything. A overall all-inclusive review reviews the cost and schedule summary, all in nutshell. And this is similar to the report we saw before, few slides back. Only thing is this comprehensive report is it includes cumulative information. This is for when you this is used for management reporting when you want to just capture the big picture, not all the details, right? Cumulative information. Basically, cumulative means like everything all the way up to the point of observation, and not like a periodic. Periodic means if you have 5 months project, uh, then each month any information related to each month is called periodic. When you add it up to the point of observation, we call it cumulative. I hope this session was useful to you. It's really important for to understand this kind of information for managing your projects effectively, and measuring the project performance quantitatively, and taking objective steps to successfully deliver your projects within budget and on time, meeting the customer requirements. Thank you for attending. Thank you for your attention. I see you in another session like this. Thank you. Bye.